Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hey guys. Okay, I really like this channel. Let's watch one. Why are Brits so obsessed with tea? Now,
why are the Brits...
I've never really stopped and thought about it. Because I can't think of another country where there is such a stereotypical attachment to a beverage that I can think of. But yeah, I mean, I drink coffee, okay? I drink coffee, but I don't drink it. I drink it for the caffeine. Like that is why I drink coffee. I like drinking water, to be honest. Like I have a giant, if you've ever watched my videos before, I have a giant, jug of water. I get a new one every few days. And that's what I like drinking. I like Coke sometimes after a meal, but like if I'm drinking coffee, I'm drinking it because I'm tired. And so when it comes to tea, as just like, oh, it's time for tea, it's just like, well, okay, let's go.
Why are the Brits so obsessed with tea?
Yeah, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but it's fun sometimes and interesting.
Why are the Brits so obsessed with tea? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Kate, and this is Anglophenia. Now, one of the first things you'll be asked by most Brits is, would you like a cup of tea? Yes, we're rather fond of a proper brew, which is what we call a nice cup of tea. And it's our go-to solution for almost any scenario. Want an excuse to gossip with your friends? Invite them over for a cup of tea. Do you have a builder doing some work on your house? It would be offensive not to offer him a cuppa. Going through a personal drama? Yep, you guessed it. A cup of tea will make everyone feel better.
So is a cuppa just the fact that cup of tea, or like, so would you like a cup of tea? That becomes so such a common phrase that it's just like cup of tea, and then it's still so common it's just cuppa. Is that why?
It's hardly surprising then that the UK raced through a whopping 165 million cups of tea every day. Seriously, that is a lot of cups.
That's like 3 cups a day average per person. Where'd it go? Ooh, I can't wait to watch the other Fred Dibna videos.
Every race through a whopping 165 million cups of tea every day.
Yeah, so that's over 2 cups of tea per person every day. That's insane.
Seriously, that is a lot of cup lifting.
Is it insane?
But it's how we stay in such great shape. But how have we become one of the biggest tea drinking nations per capita in the world? Here are a few interesting moments in history that helped make tea a quintessentially British affair. Our love of tea goes back to the mid-1600s, when the British East India Company dominated the tea imported to Britain. We had a constant and growing supply of tea, which was convenient, as we had been excluded from the coffee-exporting Mediterranean during our wars with France and Spain at the time. Whilst our surrounding countries remained hooked on coffee, Britain became a tea-drinking nation. Tea hasn't always been the innocent drink we know and love today. During the 1700s, increasing tea prices saw a rise in both tea smuggling and fake teas, which were often used tea leaves mixed with other leaves and then dyed. These lower-priced teas were sold to the working classes, which meant that tea, even if it wasn't the best quality, were no longer just for the rich. Afternoon tea, also
I mean, you think of that as like a drug dealer thing to do. Like you have weed or you have cocaine or something, and you want to, well, put X in it that looks sort of like it, and just mix it all around, and no one can tell. And it's just like a, okay, this is why we need regulation.
Tea were no longer just for the rich. Afternoon Afternoon tea, also known as low tea due to the low tables it was served on, came about in around 1841 thanks to the very hungry tummy of one woman, Anna Russell, the Duchess of Bedford, who took social convention into her own hands and began enjoying a pot of tea and a light snack to satisfy that sinking feeling in the late afternoon. Before long, afternoon tea became quite the social event. Queen Victoria, a friend of the Duchess's, formalised afternoon tea with her Buckingham Palace tea reception.
Is she not the queen yet? Why is he not? What is this? He's like, 1 second, queen. I'm finishing this chapter. I'm the freaking queen. Stop. Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I cannot drink coffee on an empty stomach. It just, not just the fact it's a diuretic or whatever. It just, ugh. You know, any sort of caffeination effect that I get in my brain is kind of doesn't matter because my stomach hurts. So having like tea with a small, anyways.
A friend of the Duchess's formalised afternoon tea with her Buckingham Palace tea receptions. I think my invite may have gotten lost in the post. Today, afternoon tea is enjoyed at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and is made up of a selection of finger sandwiches, scones, pastries and homemade cakes. Cream tea is a simpler version with scones, clotted cream, jam and of course a pot of tea, and it's my personal favourite. Not to be mistaken for afternoon tea, high tea, also known as meat tea, was in fact a hot meal of meat pies, vegetables and bread, eaten at the end of the day with a cup of tea by factory workers during the Industrial Revolution. It was called high tea due to the high tables it was served on, but these were just regular sized tables. Today, in many parts of the UK, the evening meal is often referred to as tea, which can be a tad confusing if you're expecting sandwiches and a slice of cake. In the 1880s, tea rooms became fashionable with women, as respectable places they could go to meet their friends for a discreet chat and even discuss politics.
That was a fail by me. Sorry.
With women, as respectable places they could go to meet their friends for a discreet chat and even discuss politics. Eventually, tea rooms became an integral part of the women's liberation movement. Tea was also used as a morale booster to soldiers during the Second World War, with the Prime Minister Winston Churchill stating that tea is more important than bullets. Hear, hear. Interestingly, 96% of tea...
I used to do this after every kill in Halo 2.
Hear, hear.
My specialty.
Interestingly, 96% of tea consumed in Britain comes in the form of a tea bag, which just so happens to be an American invention. During the early 1900s, tea merchant Thomas Sullivan sent out tea samples to his customers in silken sachets. Americans were naturally enthusiastic about these newfangled
You're welcome.
convenient tea bags, but they didn't catch on in Britain until the 1950s. But boy, do we love them now. So there you are, just a few examples of how tea has become part of British culture and society. Now, with all this talk of tea, I bet you're wondering how to make a proper cup of tea. Well, you're in luck. In the next episode, you're formally invited to tea with Anglophenia as we show you how to make a nice cuppa the British way. In the meantime...
So is it just going to be soon? Would you like a cup of tea? Cup of tea? Cuppa? Sorry. So it's interesting how the cutoff from the Mediterranean coffee trade influenced the grow of tea in the British palate. Very interesting. That's my my thesis statement for the video. Yeah, cool. Awesome. I'm still just not... It's like I drink coffee because of the caffeine. Tea almost always has less caffeine than coffee. So when do I ever drink tea? You know, that's kind of my mindset. Doesn't mean it can't change. I like iced tea. Not the rapper. Well, he's okay. Been great. Love y'all. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.